Hey Suburban Psychics, welcome back. This week's question comes from Jane. And Jane had this outbreak of hives. And so her question was, so what's with the hives all of a sudden? She did all the smart and sensible things by, treating it topically and consulting with her energy healer. But I thought it would also be useful to see what was behind the hives, because I found through doing the work with Annette Noontil and Louise Hay and all of those great body systems that sometimes we can think on the surface that we're coping really well. So from an ego perspective, I've got this under control, everything's fine. But deep down, there's a little part of you that's not coping so well. It's being triggered somehow. And I think when you're on the path of self-growth, the way I'm sure you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching these videos, when you're on that path, you've asked for evolution, you've asked for understanding. So you're going to get triggered as part of the asking and as part of your growth. But over and above that, there can also be these amazing astrological drivers or pushes at play as well. So for example, the Uranus-Pluto square that's just coming to its conclusion now in terms of exact squares, but obviously it goes for a long period of time. That really hammers you from a transformation point of view. And if you're awake, you catch yourself in the moment and go, whoa, this is transformative, I'm being triggered, what's going on here? If you're not awake, you're suffering and you're just wondering what the hell is going on. And Astro Barry said it really well. He said, and I wrote this down because I wanted to say it today, he said, March features the most crazy active astrology of any month in 2015. He goes on to say, this is not a new dynamic, but one we've become laboriously accustomed to since Uranus and Pluto's first square back in 2012. Yet check this out. When Uranus and Pluto meet for one more exact square on March 16th, it will be their last in a series of 7. Soon we must begin to creatively imagine life after the Uranus-Pluto square. When faced with critical choices or considerations during these weeks ahead, try to conceive of them in this broader context and as capping off a few years of relentless reinvention and transformation, and make them count. So I think sometimes there's greater forces at play acting on us, and if we've already asked for growth and expansion, then you're not going to get given more than you can handle. It just might feel that way. And certainly then when the body reacts, it's a great indication that something's getting triggered, something's going on below the surface, and it's trying to get a message to you to identify it. So why don't we work with the oracle and see what we can get for Jane today. So on the table, got the body books, got the crystals, got the Suburban Psychic Oracle on Pinterest. I'm kind of being drawn to the crystals. Let me just have a moment and see why. Okay, so I'm being drawn to Frenite, so we're going to work with that in a moment. Oh, okay. These little notebooks I made when doing the work with Dee Wallace and doing her training around consciousness, energy, and the I Am presence. And so I made a whole bunch of little notes in a few different little books, so we've been drawn to that. We'll see what that's got to offer Jane. Oh, well, this is a funny little one. It's Domino, but it's a curiosity bot. If you go to BotJoy, now I'm not sure if it's .com or .net, I'll put it in the blog post afterwards. You can see the whole range of these, how they got created, why they got created. So we'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm really excited that we've gone to one of the bots. Alright, so we make a note of Frenite. Hope I pronounced that right. It's a gorgeous green stone, and it's shot through with some inclusions. It's almost like threads of tourmaline or something, like rutilated quartz has threads in it. And I'm going to use the Crystal Bible by Judy Hall just to get some information. And any other information I get from shops and things when I pick crystals up, I tuck into the book as well, so there's a bit more in here. So we're just going to find this one. I'm having trouble. HI, here we go. Alright, so again, rather than just taking a stab at all of it, we're going to allow ourselves to be intuitively drawn to the information that's relevant for Jane, that's relevant to what's behind her hives that have come out all of a sudden. And I've gone straight to middle of the page, page 221, and it says, a good feng shui stone, prehnite, is helpful for decluttering, helping you let go of possessions you no longer need and to organize what you keep in an appropriate way. It aids those that hoard possessions or love because of an inner lack. This may well come from past life experiences of deprivation and poverty or lack of love. With its assistance, trust in the universe is restored and the soul once again believes in divine manifestation. I love the two key things that jumped out to me there for helpful in decluttering, letting go of what you no longer need, but more significantly than that, organizing what you keep in an appropriate way. Organizing what you keep in an appropriate way. So I'm going to make a quick note of that. Declutter. Alright, moving on to my little notebook that I made. So Dee Wallace was the mum in the movie E.T., and she's still an actress and still doing some really great work. I saw her on Grimm recently. But Dee also started to develop her own spiritual practice and open up to her own channeling talents, I guess, for want of a better word. And she's developed an amazing body of work. And what I love the most about it, excuse me, is she questions things. She questions herself. So if she goes into reaction, she starts to do the work, and then it takes her even deeper below, like the same way I like the oracle to, below that surface reaction or surface question. So just flipping through this book I've made of notes, I've gone to something where I've written down, I have enough, I am enough, I do enough. I've got 3 different things written on this page, but that's what's getting me. I have enough, I am enough, I do enough. So somewhere, I'm just going to make a note, have, am, do. Somewhere in your life, Jane, at the moment, or when these hives first erupted, what had been simmering below the surface was the sense that you don't have enough, you are not enough, or you're not doing enough. So please take a look at where that could be relevant, because your body's sending you that message loud and clear through creating these hives and leading you to these answers through the oracle. And the last one is our little bot. I've got a bit of blue tack on the back so he doesn't fall over, is the Curiosity bot from Bot Joy. And I can't remember the guy's name right now, but he created these so that they were small enough to carry in your purse or your pocket and act as a reminder. And so they were kind of an art form, but kind of a therapy for people as well. And he's encouraged people to take on his ideas and create ones of their own. He litters them throughout the city. He lives in Portland, I believe, and he's littered them throughout the city there. He's collaborated with artists in other cities like Paris in France, and they've then left them around. And the whole point is that they're it's like serendipity. People discover them, and then they read the little card that's with it, or they go online. On the other ones, that's not on the side here, but he puts the website, and they go and discover what this is and why it's come to them. And in the way of that sort of beautiful synchronicity, it's a message that is bound to touch your heart. And this one, Jane, is all about curiosity. Curiosity. So rather than, if indeed there's been this sense of haven't got enough, aren't enough, not doing enough, rather than getting that sense of overwhelm from it, why not approach it with curiosity and allow a kind of childlike innocence and eagerness to be directing your actions, rather than any sense of I don't really want to say duty or obligation, but something like that, not quite as heavy as that, but a little sense of that, and instead approach it with curiosity. What would it be like if I did this? I wonder what it would look like if I did that. And I think he's going to really help you shift your energy back into a more positive sense and a more positive vibration, and allow your body to release these hives, because message received. So they were really cool. I hope that you've gotten something out of it today, Jane. Remember that you're connected. You can't not be connected if you believe in that model of unity. And therefore, it's simply a case of enhancing your connection through trust and through practice. Therefore, the questions you ask are going to be answered, I believe, by the universe in any form that it can give you an answer, including sometimes bodily symptoms. So make sure that the question you ask is going to take you forward and not keep you stuck. Phrase your questions sensibly and in an empowering manner, and you'll get the most out of it, out of this marvelous connection that we've got. So, my little suburban sidekicks, that's it for this week. What's your question?